What it do, everybody? It's your boy, King Crowder, back again with another edition of History You May Not Know and Things That Are Not Taught in Detail for Show. Today's lesson is on one of the great Black American drivers who influenced the NASCAR series by opening up the floodgates before other Black Americans had the chance to drive. If you've never heard of him, gentlemen, he is from the great city of Danville, Virginia. VA, stand up. His name is Wendell Oliver Scott. He was an American stock car racer driver. He was the first Black American driver and team owner to win all divisions of NASCAR at the highest level. Scott began his racing in the local circuits around the 1940s. He obtained his NASCAR license in 1953, making him the first ever Black American to compete in NASCAR ever. Did you know he debuted in the National Series at the NASCAR level on March 4th, 1961 in Spartanburg, South Carolina? And on December 1st, 1963, he won the Grand National Speedway in Jacksonville, Florida, becoming the first Black driver ever and team owner to win premier titles. Scott's career was repeatedly affected by racial prejudice. We all know he was poisoned. Let me repeat that again. He was poisoned in Dover, Delaware, because he was a Black American. He received death threats all over his race that was in Spartanburg, Darlington, Talladega, Jackson, and Dayton. Despite his challenges, he continued to do enormous records, and upon his death, even posthumous, he received the National Hall of Fame in 2015. Let's go into his background. Mr. Scott was born in Danville, Virginia, in a town dominated by cotton mills, tobacco plants. Scott vowed as a youth to avoid such labor and began to learn auto mechanics from his father, who worked as a driver mechanic for two well-to-do white men. Scott also raced bicycles against white children in the neighborhood. As a teen, he dropped out of high school, became a taxi driver, served as a mechanic in a segregated army in Europe during World War II. He married Marcy Cole, and they had 7 children together. After the war, he ran up auto mechanic shop. At the sideline, he took dangerous and illegal pursuits, running moonshines of whiskey. The police got caught once in 1949, and he served 3 years of probation and continued making his late night runs. He was a bootlegger, a trailblazer, and a man that did what he did because he was not intimidated by the white people that were around this era. For those who did not know, Danville, Virginia is not too far originally from where I grew up. So I'm very familiar with the community, the sundown towns, and the area that Mr. Scott grew up in. Let's keep going. In 1951, he officially began the Dixie circuit. Dixie is a word that was racist that's still known around the town, especially with the Ku Klux Klan. He raced regionally in an organization that's dedicated to recruit a Black driver as a marketing gimmick. Scott was recruited and purposely participated in the first race in Danville Speedway. In searching for more opportunity, Scott repaired his car to help other Black mechanics. They had a Black mechanic network to work within the system. He was told in NASCAR Speedway because he wanted to enter the Winston-Salem event. Upon his arrival, NASCAR refused to let him compete in the race just because he was a Black American. NASCAR did the same thing at High Point and in other cities, including in Lynchburg. It was almost only 12 days in his driving career, and he just felt doubted, y'all. He did not know if any track in the great state of Virginia was going to let him work. So Scott drove as many mile times as he could in his first 5 events to try to get raced before and after the event. Even though he began to get his reps in, he began to win over white fans with his longevity and his willing to do whatever he wanted. He wasn't afraid of racist tactics. He wasn't afraid of racist views. Scott knew he was in his passion. Time went by, and Scott got his first real opportunity in 1953 in Northern Virginia Circuit, where he raced in Staunton, Virginia. He tried again in Waynesboro, only qualifier in Waynesboro feature race. Scott was reported as the most popular driver because he was the heel. He's not afraid to go against the grain. He did whatever he could to show that he belonged to be in the NASCAR Speedway. In 1954, Scott towed his race car to the local NASCAR event in Speedway in Richmond, as through Mike Piston, where he got his driver's license and positioned as a part-timer, helping with the hierarchy who could issue him a license and approve him to be the first ever black driver. Scott won dozens of races during his 9-year career at the regional level. And in 1959, he won 2 national championships. NASCAR awarded him a championship title for a driver at sportsman class stock car in Virginia. He also won a track championship in sportsman class in Richmond Southside Speedway. In 1961, Mr. Scott got his big break. He moved up to the Grand National Series and he achieved a point from the bump in 1961. In the 1964 series, he finished 15th in points, and on December 1st, driving a Chevrolet Bel Air he purchased from Ned Nart, he won a race, a half-mile dirt speed race in Jacksonville, Florida. His first Grand National Championship won by a black American. Scott passed Richard Parity, who won a driving-in-line car, 25 laps remaining for the win. Scott was not announced as the winner of the race at the time. Buck Baker, the second-place driver, was instantly declared a winner. Think about this. I was 25 laps up. I won the race because I was black. He was saying he was winning the race. But the racing discovery later on that Scott not only won the race, but had multiple laps in front of the field. NASCAR awarded Scott the victory afterwards. Think about how humiliating that had to be, y'all. I won the race. Everybody knew I won the race, but I never got my proper trophy or just due until afterwards. Think about this for a second. His family never received that trophy he earned until 2021, nearly 58 years after the race and 31 years after Scott died. That's a different level of hate. That's a different level of blocking this man and preventing him to entering in his legacy. He continued a competition driver despite his low budget operation, and throughout the 1960s, despite his success, he never received commercial sponsorship. In 1964, he was 12th in the points, despite missing several races. On his 5th year, Scott continuously finished in the top standing. He finished 11 points in 1965, his career earner. Scott held it down. Scott retired with multiple injuries he faced in Talladega, Alabama. In 1973, he did make one more start in the 1971 National Championship, where he finished 12th. Scott finished 1 win out of 156 total wins out of his 49 career starts. Sadly, Scott died December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, 1990, in Danville from spinal cancer. Scott's wife drove the truck to the transport of his car and paired 7 children to attend races. Scott's daughter became on to win a consultant for NASCAR driver diversity campaign in multiple attempts to increase women and other women inside of his candidacy. Did you know William Scott was the first black man to knock down boards, barriers, and did it with a smile? He was the first black man to win, even though he never showed any frown of it. Mr. Wendell Scott the Great, thank you for your services, sir. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for how you stood up, even though you were not getting the proper just due. And you are an icon for the black community and an icon of the legacy you left us to do. Thank you. What it do? I'm so proud of this gentleman, y'all. Hopefully you learned something from the channel. Hopefully this information was very important to you. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you let me know if anything else can be done forward. Make sure you leave a comment below if you're from the great state of Virginia. Wendell Oliver Scott, the great icon among us who broke the NASCAR color barrier. Until next time, peace.